I'm fine. Poised on the edge, parachute snug in his backpack, fear is a whisper, piggybacking the whip wind, dueling feebly with this crowd chorus in his head calling, jump, jump, jump. He has done enough dumb things and amazing feats to shatter his face into lesser fractals of stardom. He's strangely all right with this. He knows his limits like anyone daring enough to push them this far, and besides, he's got a family and friends who want to see him in more than the latest YouTube clip. This stunt, this jump, this suicidal joke can't be anything but perfect, but right. There's always a risk. Of course, it's part of why he does this. Fighting and flying and lighting himself on fire for money and a bizarre sense of incestuous fame. With all this etching scars into the inside of his spacesuit, he checks his equipment, curses the height again, takes another deep breath, and leaps. When they asked me to do this talk, I was initially concerned. As a poet, I don't know too much about science, more of a writing kind of guy. And then I realized that the poetic aspect, as the first speaker was talking about, the poetic aspect allows us to examine life in a more interesting sort of lens. It helps us to reveal the heart behind some of these issues. On October 12th, 2012, Felix Baumgartner rode a helium balloon to the stratosphere and jumped off. This jump, the Red Bull Stratus Project, allowed him to break 3 world records and the sound barrier, using only his body, a parachute, and Red Bull's money. Red Bull filmed everything, and I watched it. For the record, everyone in my family, with the exception of my mother, is terrified of heights, of high places, of all the big and scary that's up there. So in between gasps of my own anxiety, I watched slack-jawed as this man, this crazy Australian, jumped off the edge of the world. So, Felix Baumgartner broke 3 world records and the sound barrier, but if you ask me, he jumped in the wrong direction. Riding that helium balloon, he could have gone further. He could have allowed space to embrace him like a prodigal son, like he was born there. We're all born there. If you think about it, Earth, planets, are the most primitive spaceships we've got. Every one of us here is an astronaut, riding this 1.23 times 10 to the 25th power pound spaceship. That's pretty cool. I'm just saying. And so, now, to me, the environmentalist makes sense. If you have a car, you might want to take care of it. Get the oil changed every now and then. It makes sense. Each one of us is a crew member. Each one of us has a job to do. This is not a novel idea. In fact, I learned it from a very unlikely, incredibly nerdy place. It's a small moment, locked surreptitiously into the business of Star Wars, Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. It's a scene on Vader's Star Destroyer. It's a small conference of bounty hunters. When I was little, my most prized possession was a blue and tattered copy of Star Wars, the essential guide to characters. And I read frenzied holes and the innumerable stains of a child's messy eating into this book. Each one of these bounty hunters, with their moments of screen time, had a whole 1.5 pages of information. For reference, Darth Vader, arguably the most powerful and most important character in Star Wars, had only 3 pages. That's a lot of detail for having nothing to say. Each one of these bounty hunters had their own stories, their own spaceships, their own homeworlds, hover packs, motives, weapons. Each one of them had so much detail. There was Bosk, the lizard man. His species is Trandoshan. It's a slaving society. It's a very rough trade. He was one of the only people on the ship more interested in Chewbacca than Han Solo. The Wookiee was like his Django, and he was going to be darned if he let anyone get away without him. Then there was Zuckuss of the Respirator, nicknamed the Uncanny One amongst his own people. Could track you from anywhere to anywhere else, made a name for himself on his swamp world with the help of a gas grenade and some friends. Then there's IG-88. This is a killer robot who accidentally gained sentience and a thirst for blood, murdered every scientist in the room as soon as the switch flipped on. Pretty scary stuff. And then, of course, there's Boba Fett, everyone's first anti-hero and the instigator for every 8-year-old argument I ever had with my friends watching the old VCR. You remember VCRs? Watching the old VCR copy of Star Wars going, no, you see that plume of smoke right before the scene cuts away, right before the sandpit closes? That's a jetpack. He made it. Duh. Star Wars taught me the importance of everyone in the room, even the ones who don't speak, especially the ones who don't speak. Star Wars taught me that everyone here is a bounty hunter, with a wanted poster tacked to the back of our brains. Each one of us is sharing our minutes of screen time on this rickety ship. We all have it in us. This Felix Baumgartner backward space jump, each one of us is capable of space travel. You see, gravity is a pair of handcuffs. Inside of all of us, our hearts are Houdinis looking to break free. Just give them enough room and they'll surprise you. This may confuse a couple people. Vultures are my favorite animal, not because of how pretty they look, but because of a certain predicament that vultures face. When a vulture is eating roadkill, he will eat more than his own body weight. When he sees a car coming, the vulture has a decision to make. He can stay satisfied and let a Chevrolet kiss him into a new life and a new reality, or he can throw up and fly away. Sometimes we have to lose everything in order to fly. Felix Baumgartner broke the sound barrier and 3 world records falling from a helium balloon. Unfortunately, in the words of someone very wise and very intelligent, that's not flying. That's falling with style. We're all falling with style. Each one of us. We've all tripped and found flight at the end of it. It's always that snap banana peel moment of mistake. Tripping on absolutely nothing, choking on water, forgetting how to breathe, these everyday failures that hurt our hearts the most. This extended warranty life, we are told, will not give out, not for no reason. So we guzzle our gas and move forward, retire, tread forward. Too often, we see the future through a sniper scope. It is distant, it is narrow, and death is inevitable. There is an entire world looking to block your crosshairs, looking to budge the velvet rope and mosh pit the moment into mistake. Nothing is certain apart from uncertainty. Unfortunately, you will sometimes trip on the mischief of nothing in particular. Water will go down the wrong tube at the worst moment, I promise you. Embarrassment will follow you like wedding cans tied to a bumper. We are married to our mistakes on some days. So we toss rice and run forward, unhelmeted into the sliding glass doors of the world we know we will crash into. This extended warranty life expires as soon as we fall. When we get back up, all bets are off. When we stumble, we can fall in any direction we want, even upward. Felix Baumgartner broke the sound barrier, falling. Imagine, if you can, what we can accomplish when we remember how to fly. Thank you.